Today on Sugar Spun Run, we'll be making beef ragu. Hey Sugar Spun Bakers, Sam here, and today I am so excited to be bringing you another carefully tested, well-researched, and perfected recipe. Today's beef ragu is one of my favorite meals to make, especially as the weather starts to get a little bit more chilly. I think you're going to love this one, so go ahead and get started by preheating your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, you are going to need 3 pounds of chuck roast. I'm going to go ahead and cut this into even-sized pieces. I generally say about fist-sized pieces. With this cut of meat, it's kind of tricky to do that, so I'm pretty happy with how these 4 pieces are looking right here. Now we're going to season the meat on all sides with salt and ground black pepper. You can use just table salt and just a shaker of black pepper, that's fine. I'm going to be grinding my own pepper and my own salt just because I want to give it that little extra. And again, we want to do this on all sides of the meat. All right, now let's head over to the stovetop. So for today's recipe, we're going to be starting on the stovetop, but then we are going to be cooking this roast nice and slow in the oven for 3 hours. Now you're going to need a pot that you can put in the oven. I am going to be using my enameled cast iron pot. You want to make sure it has a lid that is oven safe as well. I love this pot. It is kind of pricey. It's definitely a splurge, but I use it all the time. It's great in the oven, so I'll make sure to link to it in case you want to grab your own. I really love this one and the color. Now, one thing worth noting, this is an enameled cast iron. You do not want to use a regular black cast iron. The reason for that is because the iron that's in the pot will react with the tomatoes that are going into this ragu, and they'll actually make the dish taste super metallic. Now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of oil to this pot, and we're going to turn the heat to medium-high. All right, now once this oil is shimmering and the pan's nice and hot, we're going to add our beef. Now we want to sear this beef on all sides before we move it to the oven. So once I place the beef in the pot, I want to let it sit there for 2 to 3 minutes without disturbing it. That way it gets a nice deep golden brown sear on it. We're going to get so much flavor by preparing the meat this way. All right, so after about 2 to 3 minutes, I will turn the meat. See, I'd like to even get this a little bit more golden brown, so I'm going to make sure on the next side I cook it even longer. All right, this is looking pretty good, nicely seared. So I'm going to remove the meat from the pot and place it on a plate. I'm just gonna set it aside. It's not cooked through, but all of the sides are nicely seared. Now I'll turn down my stovetop heat just a smidge, and I'm going to add just a tablespoon of butter. Just toss that right in the pot. Now, I should also mention you're probably gonna have some nice golden brown bits on the bottom of your pot. Those are great. They're going to do a lot to add flavor to the dish later on, so don't worry about removing them or anything like that. Once that butter is melted, and it's only going to take a second, we're going to add 1 cup of diced carrots, a cup of diced celery, and 1 medium diced onion, which is about 1.5 cups of diced onion. You can use yellow onion or sweet onion, or even white onion would be fine. Now we'll cook this, stirring occasionally until the veggies are nicely softened. This is going to take about 3-5 minutes. Next, we'll add 1.5 tablespoons of minced garlic. This is typically about 5 to 6 cloves for me, but will vary depending on the size of your garlic cloves. I'm going to stir this in, and I'm going to cook until I can smell the garlic. That usually takes about 30 seconds or so. Next, we are going to add 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, and I like to stir that in and get it nicely worked in with the veggies. All right, the next thing we're going to do is deglaze this pan with 1/3 cup of red wine vinegar. You can use a dry red wine instead. Now I'm just going to pour this in, and now I'm going to kind of start scraping the bottom of the pan to help loosen up those brown bits. Now, the vinegar, you're gonna get some steam that is very acidic. The smell of the vinegar is probably gonna punch you in the face a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to continue to cook while stirring until this vinegar has reduced and until this steam that's coming off the pot doesn't have that vinegar smell that just kind of knocks you in the back of the nose. You wanna make sure it's not quite so pungent before you move on. So after a couple minutes of stirring and sniffing the steam and making sure the vinegar is not too powerful anymore, we can go on to our next step. Now today I am using 2 cups of beef broth. You could instead use chicken broth or chicken stock, but I like the flavor. It's a little bit heartier, it's a little bit of a deeper flavor when I use beef broth. So I'm going to pour this in kind of slowly because if any more brown bits are formed on the bottom of the pan, I want to make sure I'm scraping them up and getting those brown bits mixed into the mixture rather than having them stick to the bottom of the pan where they could end up burning. Then you lose the flavor too, which is no good. We'll also add 1/4 cup of water, a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Make sure we get all of those in there. And I also like to add just a little bit of crushed red pepper for a little bit of heat. I'd say about 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon. If you like your dish spicier, you can certainly add more, but this is typically plenty for me. Let's stir everything together, and then we're just going to let this sit for a minute, stirring occasionally until it begins to simmer. Once everything is simmering, we'll go ahead and grab our beef, and we are going to return this to the pot. You can see I'm placing it in the pot instead of just dumping it in there. I want to make sure the meat is a little bit spaced out so all of the pieces aren't right on top of each other. Next, I'm going to add 2 dried bay leaves. Toss them in there. I'm going to press them into the liquid. That way they're submerged and they don't burn. And a couple sprigs of fresh thyme. If you don't have fresh thyme, you can use a teaspoon of dried thyme. This is about 2 or 3 sprigs. Just going to submerge those as well. All right, now place your lid on your Dutch oven, and we are going to take this over to our 350° Fahrenheit preheated oven where it's going to need to cook for 3 hours. All right, 3 hours later, which hopefully for you is just a couple of seconds, we are finally ready to check on our beef ragu, and hopefully your house smells as amazing as mine does right now. Let's go ahead and carefully remove the lid because there's going to be some steam escaping. You don't want to burn yourself. Maybe you'll notice I let the steam come towards my face rather than towards the camera because I wanted to protect the camera instead of my face. Gotta protect the one that's worth a little bit more money. All right, I want you to take a peek at this beef. Super tender if I pierce it with a fork. This is just going to shred super easily. But we're not going to shred it in the pot. We're going to use some tongs and carefully remove the beef to a plate. And as you can see, this is just starting to fall apart as I'm removing it from the pot, which is exactly what you want. Also at this point, I'm going to start cooking my pasta. I love using, pappardelle. Sometimes I'm really mad at my family because my great-grandmother is from Italy and yet no one retained any of the Italian heritage, so now I don't know how to pronounce words like pappardelle on camera. It's a little embarrassing, I'm sorry. I have to look up how to say it. Pappardelle. It's terrible. But you'll want to make sure you're cooking a pound of pasta according to package instructions. Cook it al dente and just make sure you don't drain the pasta yet because we're going to need some of that pasta water. So now that we've covered that, we'll go ahead and start shredding our beef. Again, this is super, super tender. It's just coming apart so easily with a fork. If you come across any large pieces of fat, we're just going to remove those and just shred all of the meat. Now we're not going to add the beef back into the pot just yet. We're going to kind of break down these veggies just a little bit more so we have a sauce that's not quite so chunky. I like to use a potato masher for this. You could use an immersion blender and make a nice smooth sauce, but I like mine to be a little heartier. So I'm just going to mash those veggies until I have a sauce that's kind of chunky but not quite this thick. All right, this is looking pretty good. This is the consistency I like from my ragu sauce. Now we can go ahead and add our beef back into the pot and just stir everything together, work everything together so we have a nice, perfect beef ragu. Again, it should smell amazing. So any minute now, your pasta should be finished cooking. Now, if you'd like, you could just portion your pasta out into a dish and top it with a ragu sauce and enjoy it that way. But what I like to do is I like to sort of emulsify the sauce with the noodles. So I want to add the noodles directly to the sauce. You can see I have not drained them. I'm just going to use my tongs to move them right into the sauce. Don't splash yourself because the water is hot. So after I've added all of my noodles, I want to add a little bit of this pasta water, which is going to help the sauce really cling to the noodles. It's going to make the dish just perfect. Just trust me on this. Now, how much do you add exactly? Typically, I eyeball it. I'd say I typically add between a half cup to absolute max would be 1 cup of pasta water. I'd go easy and start with 1 cup and then just add more as you need. Now I'm just using tongs to work everything together, work those noodles in, get that water mixed in, and this is looking absolutely perfect. If you accidentally add too much pasta water, just take your pot over to the stovetop, simmer it, the water will cook out. Just make sure you stir it periodically. All right, I am going to make myself a nice bowl of this. I'm so excited because I love this meal. It's one of my favorites. And of course, we need to top it with some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Looks delicious. And that is it. That is how you make the absolute best beef ragu. I'm really so excited for you guys to try this one. And when you do, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think because I always love hearing from you. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Man, everybody is going to judge me about the pappardelle. It's one of those things you have to eat slowly. You guys are gonna love this.